Yeah, I'm on Miitomo. It's pretty weird. And if you're curious about adding me, here's a QR code. You should be able to scan through the video if it actually focuses. Uh, uh? Anyway, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about...
Questions! I need answers!
Yes, questions and answers. And look at this. Since the last time I poked my head in these questions, somebody actually asked a new one. Tons of questions, and what's funny is, like, it's like 30 some odd questions came within the last week alone. For a long time, there was nothing. In fact, I'm not even going to answer the first question because I don't really think it's appropriate to answer. Delete. Okay. But I will answer all the other ones, and this might be a long video because it's like still 32 questions. So let's get started. These are almost all of them were asked within the last, well, week. This one was actually a couple weeks ago, and I got a couple questions from today and yesterday even. So let's get started. This question is from Sam Parker. Are you gonna make a mega pin video from a convention anytime soon? That's how I found your channel like a year ago. Now I do know that I think when I was at the Pinball Expo in 2012, I took a lot of footage, and I wound up editing that into like almost like a montage of it was like an hour-and-a-half montage of like all these pinball machines that I filmed there, and that actually took a really long time to do. I've done something kind of similar since then, but it really takes a long time to do. And I will be going to the Midwest Gaming Classic actually next week, and I probably will be putting up some footage of that, but I don't know if I'm going to do like a montage like I did back then. It does take a lot of time to do, and I'm actually really surprised that that video has gotten so many hits that it has. I mean, to me, it's just walking around and looking at the pinball machines and everything. I kind of figured that would be just as good as doing what I did in the past with all the labels and everything. I probably won't do exactly that same thing again. It just takes way too much time to do. I think I spent like 3 days working on, you know, in retrospect, 3 days doesn't seem like a lot of time, but just editing it all up and formatting it, you know, it's, for me back then it was more interesting to do than it is right now, I think. I'd rather just put something up where I was walking through, like the last Pinball Expo video I did, where I would just walk through and I kind of had like a voiceover overlay. I think that kind of works out pretty good. So I might be doing that. So yes, I will have videos of, you know, Pinball Expo, Midwest Gaming Classic, Video Game Summit, but I'm not going to do any, I don't think I'm going to do anything like a huge, just, here are all the pinball machines, here's this one, here's that one, with all labels and everything. So let's move on. Next question is from Sharpie. How does gamera steer? Well, I guess gamera steers much the way like we steer when we walk. I mean, it's not like anybody's steering gamera. Gamera is pretty much going where he wants. Nobody asks you, well, how do you turn while you're walking? You just know how to do that. And it's the same thing with gamera. He may be up in the air spinning around, and maybe sometimes he's spinning around, sometimes he's flying straight, but nobody's controlling him. He's basically steering on his own. So it's basically, you know, it's just what's the word? Instinct. You just instinctively know how you turn, and that's the same way gamera steers or turns. Next question is from Marvel Fan. Why does WB trust Zack Snyder to helm the DCU? All he can do is action. He can't. He says we can't write. He can't write, edit, or develop characters. That may be true, but you gotta think ultimately. I think all they're really interested in making money, and if they can have a director that has been proven to make them money, that's who they're gonna go with. That's why Michael Bay keeps getting work doing Transformers movies, even though these movies are really terrible. They're so bad that I absolutely refuse to watch the fourth one, the third one. Well, I was on the fence with the third one, and I saw it because I saw it. My friend took me there, and I swear we almost left. I'm like, okay, that's it. These movies are done. I know that they've already got Transformers 5, 6, and 7 already lined up because those movies make so much money. People keep going to see those movies. Stop seeing those movies, people! But they keep making money, and lots of it. So, of course, they're going to keep doing the same thing again and again. So, until these movies start not making money, that's when it's going to happen. I still haven't seen Batman vs. Superman yet. I know it's probably not... I've heard bad things about it. I've heard good things about it. I really don't know. I'm still probably going to see it. I might even see it tomorrow. Just haven't had time to see it. It's a 2.5 hour long movie. So, yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll see it. But, well, you will see. I do like the Marvel movies better than the DC movies. But yeah, I'll see all of them pretty much. I like those kind of movies. So, honestly, I think that it won't be so bad, at least for me. But to me, it won't be as good as any Marvel movie. So, thus far, in general. Okay, I'm not going to say any Marvel movie's better than any DC movie. I really haven't looked at all the Marvel movies yet. I know that there's like the Punisher Warzone that may not have been so good. I haven't seen that. I did like the original one with, I can't remember his name, Thomas Jane. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good with John Travolta and whatnot. Let's move on. This is from Ryan. What is your favorite looking amiibo? I kind of like Rob here. I like the way he's looking. I would say this is my favorite because it's actually one of the few amiibos that's actually based on something in real life. And you can see how very, very similar they look. And here, hold on to him for a second. I don't know if this Rob actually works or not, but there's also this one too, the Japanese colored, the Famicom version colored one. This is not the one Soft Otaku sent me. I still have that one in the box, but it was kind of surprising that the Famicom colored one came out in the States. I actually asked him for that one long before I knew that this one was going to be coming out in the US. And so I said, you know what, I'm not going to pre-order it or anything, but if I go into the store and I see it, I'll buy it. And that's exactly what happened. You don't have to worry about really amiibos selling out these days because they make enough. So if you go into the store, at least on the day it comes out, you don't have to wait and wait for the store open and run in there like a madman, or pre-order them, months in advance. But if I walked into Target on my lunch break and they had a couple of them, so I picked it up. So I would say that's my favorite looking amiibo. I was actually over there for a while looking, and I almost picked up Mr. Game & Watch because I like that one too. But I gotta go with Rob, I think. Next question is from Heyman as well. Another question. What do you think of the supposed Nintendo NX controller so far? Now, I looked at it. I'm not going to reserve judgment till I see it in real life. And since you've posted that question, it's pretty much been revealed that that controller prototype was fake. I think we're gonna have to wait until for a month or so, around E3, to find out exactly what the hell the Nintendo NX is even going to be. Nobody even knows what this thing's going to be. We've heard rumors and, pretty good guesses on what it's going to be. Something where it's a controller, it's got an HDMI dongle that plugs into the TV, so you could, there's no base system, but they are going to come out with a base system later. These are the things I've been hearing. I'm not going to believe any of it until I actually see something, some sort of announcement. Now, supposedly, it's going to have to happen really soon, because supposedly the NX is supposed to be out by the end of the year. But enough of rumors and hearsay about the Nintendo NX. I just kind of wish people would stop talking about it until we actually hear something about it from Nintendo. This is from Francis. You sure you don't mean Ajax? Do you guys have an extra box Lucina? How much would you like for it? You should probably would answer this question, but and it's actually not the type of question you should really be asking here. But the answer is no. I actually checked and we do not have an extra box Lucina. And if we did, I'm sure my wife would have already sold it. Next question is from the Puma Man. Are there any sports you watch or enjoy? Also, Dark Souls 3 will be on Steam in 2 weeks. Sports I watch or enjoy. I don't mind watching sports if I'm actually there, but I don't keep track of I don't keep track of sports on TV. In fact, I don't even have an antenna on my TV, so I don't get broadcast stations. I'm not interested in watching sports, keeping track of it. But if I'll go to a hockey game, I'll go to a baseball game. I've never been to a football game actually, but actually attending and being there during the sporting event is way more entertaining than just trying to watch everything and keep track of everything. I'll be at the event. I don't know who the people are, but I watch what they're doing. But yeah, and also Dark Souls 3. I don't know why people want me to play Dark Souls 3 or Dark Souls anything so badly. I haven't played any of those games. They look interesting, but I've got so many other games that I'd rather be playing. So yeah, hint hint, no. Next question. I ain't got no name. Where are the new F-Zero and Metroid games? And when the hell is the new Zelda coming out? Got me. Out of all those, I would much like to see another F-Zero game. Now, if you think about it, the last F-Zero game was on the GameCube, F-Zero GX. And that's actually a really good F-Zero game, even though I haven't really put as much time into it as I would have liked. And that's really difficult, too. And I think Sega developed that game, didn't they? So, come on, Sega, make another F-Zero game for Nintendo. Metroid games and Zelda games, yeah, oh man, there's tons of Zelda games. I don't know why everybody's so anxious for another Zelda game. But, Metroid, yeah, it's been a while since there was Metroid Other M, which a lot of people didn't like. That was on the Wii. So who knows? Maybe on the, they're saving this stuff for the NX. Hopefully they're saving for, if they have an F-Zero on the NX, that's a day one purchase for me. And the next question is from Desktop. If someone you cared about was drowning in a pool filled with coffee, how would you save them? Well, I wouldn't save them. It's their own fault for getting drowned in something I wouldn't get close to. If somebody's going to save them, it's going to be somebody else, somebody who really likes coffee. Now, is this coffee even, like, boiling, scalding hot? Because pull them out, they're going to have burns all over, too. And plus, they're probably going to stink, so I probably wouldn't want to be by them for a long time after this happens either. If they, like, permanently smell like coffee after being rescued, oh, I'm not going to be their friend no more. Next question. This is from a blank line. Remember when? It's back again. Okay, I know what this is a reference to, but the slogan actually was, remember when, play again. When you say, remember when it's back again, it kind of sounds like a horror movie tagline. Of course, this is a Calico Chameleon reference. We haven't heard anything about the Calico Chameleon. Now, I did put up that video some time ago, and after I put up the video, there was a couple more things that happened regarding that. But not anything that requires its own video. Of course, the Calico, I guess the biggest thing is that Calico did remove their name from it. I think right now Mike Kennedy is in hiding. Nobody's heard hide nor hair from him, I believe. He can't do anything. Anything he's attached to is dead at the moment. So it's not back again, and it'll never be back ever. So, next question is from THWIP. The new Spider-Man is a kid instead of college age or adult in the MCU. How do you feel about this? The new Spider-Man is a kid instead of a college age. I'm fine with that. Wasn't he originally like a kid, a high school kid? See, I don't. Oh, MCU, like the MCU. No, okay, I'm kind of misunderstanding the question. Yes, in the comic books, he was a kid. Eventually through the comic books and different variations, he did grow up. He got married and whatnot. But originally, he was a high school kid with these superpowers. So, the movies, I guess in the first, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, the first one, he was still in high school. But I guess from that point on, he kind of grew up. He was being played by people much older than somebody that would have been played in a high school. He's in a high school, he's in a college, but it's not really the way it was supposed to be, I believe. They did that just for movie magic or whatever. But in the comic book, he was a kid originally. Really meek kid, shy, whatnot. So this we're talking about Captain America's Civil War. In the last trailer, the latest trailer, Spider-Man shows up, and he's this meek kid. We all know the actor who's playing him. If you don't, just look it up. He looks like a kid. That's how Spider-Man's supposed to be, actually. So it seems like, based on the very, very short footage that we've seen in the Civil War trailer, that this is gonna be the best version of Spider-Man. His outfit's awesome. I like the way his eyes move, kind of like the way Deadpool's eyes move. It looks really awesome. It looks like the best movie version of Spider-Man ever. Period. So, moving on. I don't know how anybody could argue. Like, I think the people that are like saying that this is not a good Spider-Man are the people that are relying too much on the previous movie iterations and not really realizing that that's what Spider-Man actually was like in the comic. So, moving on. Destro. Yes, that's Destro. He says, what would you say off the top of your head? Like, I didn't read that. What would you say off the top of your head are some of the most boring Mystery Science Theater 3000 episodes? Movie was boring, or jokes that weren't that good? Well, there's some boring movies that they actually made entertaining episodes about. One of which was Monster Go-Go. Now, that, to me, is the worst movie that they ever did on Mystery Science Theater. But it's also one of my favorite episodes, just because of how nonsensical it is. They literally took an unfinished movie. I think they might have taken 2 unfinished movies and mixed them together to make a B-roll movie for double features or whatever, way back when they did those sort of things in the movies and the drive-thrus and whatnot. But there are a couple episodes that I just find extremely boring. And what's weird is that they're all... there's some of them that I found initially boring, but I really got into it after a while. I think Space Children is a really good example of that. I think that's even a season 10 episode. It might be a season 9 episode. I can't really think right now. But that was like a really late episode, and I found that extremely boring at first. But after a while, I really got into it. But there are a couple season 2 episodes that I can think of off the top of my head that I just can't... I find them really boring. Now, we're going to ignore all the KTMA episodes, Season 0 episodes, because a lot of those are really boring. There's not too many jokes. It was a different time back then. It's kind of like the, you know how what am I thinking of? Yeah, it took me a while. I don't know why it escaped my mind. But Season 0 is like Mystery Science Theater's pilot season. Some TV shows get a pilot or a couple even pilot episodes before somebody picks it up. But Mystery Science Theater had a whole pilot season that only aired on in KTMA in Minneapolis before it was picked up by the Comedy Channel, which eventually became Comedy Central. But all of those episodes are almost, you know, they redid some of those movies in later seasons, but some of those movies were really boring as well. Some of those episodes were kind of boring. But the episodes I can think of, I kind of like all of these, you know, I guess season 1, the Black Scorpion, I kind of found was not that interesting. But for season 2, there's like 3 episodes right in a row, and I find all of them kind of boring. Lost Continent is one of them. King Dinosaur is the other one. And there was one in between those two. I can't think of it. I'm going to have to look it up. Oh, the Hellcats. And that's an episode I've had for a long time on DVD. And for some reason, I cannot ever figure out what the hell's going on in that movie. And it just all seems pretty interesting. Pretty uninteresting. Also, there's Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, which I don't find that great at all either. But, you know, I think it's one of those episodes I still have to watch more before I get into it. And it's unfortunate because the episode right before that one is Godzilla versus Megalon. And that's one of my favorite episodes. Yeah, also Catalina Caper. Not really boring, but it's actually, the movie itself is a comedy, so it almost doesn't even really work. But yeah, I'm just looking at season 1. I mean, there's Mad Monster. The Mad Monster. I find that one very, very slow and uninteresting. But like once you get to season 3, it's like almost everything's classic. And they found out a way to make everything work, it seems like. Oh, I know there's a season 5 episode. Where is that one? Radar Secret Service. That was one I found very boring. But it's one of those ones I got into after a while. I wouldn't say it's boring anymore. It's really got its moments. I mean, there's a season 6 episode, Codename Diamond Head. Yeah, it's on the border, I think. See, I mean, and then some people listening to me might be saying, "Oh, that episode's great." And that for you, maybe it is great, but for me, that's what I would say. There's only a handful of episodes. The Unearthly. Wow, that's a season 3 episode I just thought of out of nowhere that I had on DVD for a long time, and every time I watched it, I was like, "This is so boring." But everything some episodes take a really long time for me to really get a handle on and really start to enjoy. Whereas some episodes, like most of the episodes, I enjoy right off the bat. Like, who's gonna watch the episode for Hobgoblins and not like that the first time they see that? Let's move on. I think we've gone too far into that. This is from Crow. I'm right behind you. No, you're not. Made you look. No, you didn't. Man, you should have seen your face. It was like this. Have you ever smoked or done drugs? The short answer is no. The long answer is, well, if you've taken any sort of medication, you've taken drugs. Next question from Philip. Who is your favorite Disney princess? Well, that's easy. It's Tron. Next question from Jacob. Do you pre-order? How do you feel about pre-ordering? Should people pre-order or not? I would say before digital. Okay, here's the thing. There's almost really no reason whatsoever to pre-order any digital content. The only real reason you have for pre-ordering digital content is you're going to buy it day one anyway, and they're going to give you some sort of discount for pre-ordering it. But to pay full price for that, that's stupid. Why would you do that? I mean, it's not like they're going to run out. That is the real reason you pre-order. If you don't think there's going to be limited quantities and you want to buy it day one, and you might not be able to get it. Like, say, maybe there's 10 of them or something like that, or maybe 10 per store or whatever, and you want to make sure you get that. Yeah, then pre-order it. Limited quantity. That's the reason you pre-order. Like, for example, I pre-ordered Deadpool on Steelbook at Best Buy recently because those Steelbook Blu-ray movies are pretty hard to get if you don't pre-order them. Like, in some cases. Some cases, they're really easy to find. But, like, Mad Max, I got really lucky getting that with that's on Steelbook. Because if I didn't pre-order, I had pre-ordered it like the day before. And my selections of stores to pick it up from was very limited. But Deadpool's not coming out till May. It's over a month away, actually. And I didn't want to miss out on getting a Steelbook for that. So, yeah, there are reasons to pre-order, and it's limited quantity. Perhaps, or if you're getting some sort of bonus for pre-ordering, that's another incentive. Otherwise, like if it's a game, it's like a AAA title, and it's going to be everywhere, like Grand Theft Auto 5. There was no reason to pre-order Grand Theft Auto 5. You can still walk into a store today and buy that. So, and probably get it for a cheaper price. But, yeah. That's how I feel. But if people want to get excited and pre-order, I'm not going to tell them not to. I'm just going to say, well, I'm not going to. It's kind of ridiculous. I only really pre-order if either I'm going to get something really good with the pre-order. I might get a discount by pre-ordering, or if I think it might be really hard to find on day of release unless I pre-order. There you go. Next question is from HP, and it's another Gamera question. Why did Gamera have a hard time fighting a hat or a bowl of candy or a bowl of tricks? This sounds like a riddle to me. You've lost me. You've completely lost me on this question. I'm going to move on. Anon. What do you think about Hulk Hogan beating Gawker in court? Really didn't think much about it, actually. I think it's funny that Gawker, the award for that Gawker would have to pay Hulk Hogan, is more than what that company is worth. They'll be instantly bankrupted if they do. They're appealing, so who knows what's going to... That amount might actually be lowered in the appeal. But why even go to Gawker in the first place? Nobody goes there for news. It's not a news site. It's just like it's like journalists that pretty much write opinion pieces and then present them as fact. And that goes for anything that's really associated with Gawker as well. It's one of the reasons why I try to avoid Kotaku, because everything is like, oh, here's a headline. If you're interested in seeing what we have to say about this headline, it's clickbait. So, yeah, I try to avoid that kind of stuff. Let's just move on. BB8 says, will you be buying the retro VGS when it's released? It looks amazing. Let's not talk about that anymore. This one is from Goemon. Is Konami a dead video game company? I believe so, yes. I don't believe they really have any intention of releasing video games anymore. They're not a dead company, but because they've always had a, I wouldn't say always, but for a long time they've had an interest in making casino equipments, pachinko machines, slot machines, that kind of thing. And they must be doing better business on that side than the video game side. So I guess somebody higher up at Konami said, okay, no more video games, let's focus on gaming machines. And that's where they're going now. Unfortunately, they're going to take a lot of great ISPs with them. I mean, think about it, there's no more Castlevania, unless it's a slot machine. And, I mean, but we got Bloodstain coming out sometime. They're being worked on. I don't know when it's coming out. No more Contra. Konami had a lot of great stuff. No more Dance Dance Revolution or Beat Mania. Although I think they released something for Beat Mania recently. I think they're releasing another Dance Dance Revolution game. I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. I just wouldn't expect anything home console-wise from them anytime soon. No more Metal Gear. Metal Gear's dead, apparently. Let's move on. Drew. Did you end up importing DOA X3? I think that's Dead or Alive Extreme 3. No, I don't have any of those games, so I wouldn't pre-order importing that. But I think it's good that it's region-free and people who actually do want that can import it. Kind of silly that they didn't release it here if there's such a demand for it. But, you know, I could understand their point of view. There's people out there that complain, bitch, and whine about every little thing that they don't like. And rather than deal with that, they're going to say, okay, we're just going to release it in our country. And say, hey, if you want it for your country, you can buy it too. I think that was pretty much a smart move on their side. That way these SWJs or whatever they're called can't really complain. You know what? There's a question coming on later, I think, regarding this. But I just can't. I mean, I thought we were done with to me, the 90s was the PC era, where you couldn't say anything without having to check yourself, basically. You couldn't say that, you couldn't say this, you couldn't say that. And then it all seemed to die down, for me at least. It seemed like that in the early 2000s. And now it seems like it's back with a vengeance, where anything you do or say will offend somebody, and they'll just complain, bitch, and whine and moan about it, that what you said is ruining their life. And if this game comes out here, we're going to complain, bitch, whine, and moan that it's offensive to people. I don't know. I'm not into the whole scene. I don't really know this or that or what's going on. I just believe that if you don't like something, you should just ignore it. If you don't like something, that doesn't mean you shouldn't prevent anybody else from enjoying it, unless it's something that's harmful to somebody, physically harmful. I guess it could be mentally too, but everybody's way too sensitive these days, I think. Let's not really talk about that anymore. Next question. Can't think of a name. After watching your older pickup videos, I started collecting figures, toys, models, whatever. Recently, I've been looking at anime statues from anime I used to watch as a kid. One of them is Bulma in a risque bikini and an erotic pose, but not nude. Would it be weird to own something like this? No. If you want it, buy it. Put it on display. But I guess the weird thing is where you would put it off on display and show it off. I mean, if you have people over or whatever and you have it on your kitchen table, dining room table, and everybody's eating around it, that would be kind of weird. I guess it also depends on who your friends are. you know, whether or not they would be offended by such a thing. I don't know. And even if they, again, if somebody's gonna be over and be offended by it, who cares? Fuck them. But no, it's not weird to own something like that. And I mean, I own plenty of stuff, and like this, like I have this Rob here. I mean, to somebody that might be weird that I own this, even though I've never really used it. I don't know if I have all the pieces for this even. It's so dusty. He just sits on the shelf back there, but oh, is this open? Yeah, I've never actually even put batteries in this. I'm missing some pieces for this too, but to me, it's just a piece of history. Somebody might think that I'm weird for owning that. Who cares? Next question is from Coily the Spring Sprite. Do you think you could live the rest of your life without springs?
No springs, my friend! No springs!
Well, I'll show it Coily. I'm going to digitize everything. Next question. Vanilla Coke. So, Allison Rapp was fired by Nintendo. Can we finally stop censoring or removing things from Nintendo when they leave Japan? Okay, now, before she was fired, I had never heard of her name before. Apparently, people don't like her. She's an SJW, whatever. SW, I don't know, whatever they're called. But here's the thing. She wasn't the one in charge of censoring stuff at Nintendo. Stuff has been censored from Japan to the US by Nintendo for decades and decades, probably even before she was born. So, I'm assuming, I saw a picture of her, she doesn't look like she's older than me. In fact, she might be in her early 30s, late 20s, I don't know. But, I mean, even back in the NES days, there were games that didn't come out here. I mean, Devil World didn't come out here because of religious imagery, supposedly. Like the game Earthbound had to, Mother to Earthbound Zero. I mean, there's a completed version they never released, but if you looked at it, there's plenty of changes there. It's just and it's not just Nintendo doing this, other companies have done this as well, changed things for a US audience. And she wasn't the one responsible for that, so that's silly to think that her getting fired is going to stop the censorship. And the censorship is because they want it to appeal to a wide audience. And if they think that if they want the game to it's different cultures, okay, and what doesn't offend people in Japan might offend some people in the US, and if they want to open this up and make it less offensive to as least offensive as possible, they're going to change it so they don't have to deal with people complaining about it. And again, we're back again to people complaining about things, but again, some of those people might actually be interested in Nintendo stuff, and they don't want to offend those people when then they'll stop buying their stuff. I don't know. I guess the people the people that are saying that they're offended by things are not the people. Like, a lot of those people wouldn't even buy the product in the first place, so why would you even listen to them? But I guess I'm a hair short of going on a rant. So all I'll say is Allison Rapp didn't have anything to do with censorship. And there's still going to be changes, or if you want to look at it as censorship, from games coming from the east to the west. And that's all that's going to be. And if you want to get uncensored versions, you're going to have to import the original versions. Moving on. I guess this is another question. You know what? Did I miss a question? You know, I did miss a question way up here. This is from Riley M4421. It says, QQQAAA. Why do you ask it 3 times? Maybe you missed the intro. Here's the intro again.
Questions. I need answers.
And I hope that clears everything up for you. I knew that question was in the back of my head, and I got so far down the list, I was like, I should have ran across that question already, and I missed it. Okay, here's the other question. For Contents Hot 545. Contents hot 5. Sorry, I'm getting these numbers wrong. Contents hot 452. So Blizzard is removing a victory pose for Tracer in Overwatch because one person complained about it being able to see her butt. Will the senseless complaining and censorship stop? Well, let me tell you this. The senseless complaining will not stop. Will not stop, ever. Because as long as there's people, they're going to be senselessly complaining about things. The censorship is not going to stop. However, I don't know if it was just one person. There's a one person talked about this on Reddit. You know, I'm not even sure what Overwatch is, okay? That game is so far off my radar. I've seen the pose, the victory pose that they're removing. To me, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but apparently the problem that people were having is that this character, the way her attitude is or whatnot, would not be using that pose. And I guess somebody brought that up, and a lot of people said, yeah, why do we have this pose? And I guess it's something that was in the game for only a little while. And I guess the Blizzard employees were on the fence whether or not it should have actually been added or not to begin with. And after seeing the complaint and they said, you know, maybe we made the wrong decision, we're going to take it out. That I don't know. On the one hand, yeah, it's kind of stupid that they put it in only to take it out because somebody complained, and then they rethought their decision. But I don't think it affects the game at all. I mean, it's just a victory pose. So, I mean, if it's something that would affect the game, if it's like a move that somebody does, and they're like, oh, we can't do this move because it's too offensive, and they take out the move and that affects the game, that'd be something different. But this is just a pose that they put in. And besides, if you want a butt pose, we still got Cammy from Street Fighter 5 or Street Fighter anything. Well, Street Fighter, anything beyond Super Street Fighter 2. You've got Cammy. So there you go. I mean, I don't know why we need another butt pose. Move on. Jimmy. I like to build things. Do I need good posture? No. I'm sure that plenty of people have built things without good posture. You know, I just realized that might have been a reference to a Mystery Science Theater 3000 short. Next question is from Timmy. Was Timmy really evil? Don't you think Tom deserved it? I mean, Tom was in the way. This is a reference to the Fire Maidens from Outer Space episode where Timmy shows up, the evil crow. And, yeah, he's evil because I just referenced him as the evil crow, but he was annoying Tom. He was, if you watch in the theater, he's like ramming Tom in the theater. So, yeah, and then he kind of assaulted Tom and like attached him to the wall as such, and Crow had to not Crow, but Joel had to get rid of him because he was pretty much attacking everybody. So, yeah, Timmy was really evil. I don't know what Tom did to deserve that. Although he was kind of acting like a jerk earlier in the episode, but physical violence is never the way. Moving on. iCap92. Is it weird to brush your teeth at work? I don't think so, as long as you do it in the bathroom. If you're doing it at your desk, or if you're working at McDonald's and you're taking somebody's order, it'd be pretty weird to brush your teeth at that moment. So I don't think it's weird as long as you're doing it in private. But don't be on a field call with a client and start brushing your teeth. Second to the last question. Buff Hard Chess. Is rocket number 9 the only external camera SOA has? Don't know if it's the only external camera, but it's the only one they ever use. And the last question from Gull. Which version of Pokemon are you buying, Sun or Moon? I'm not buying Pokemon games anymore. I bought... last one I bought was X, and that was because I bought the 3DS, and I kind of wanted games for it, and that was the newest Pokemon game at the time. And that was funny, is at that point I had already said I'm not buying any more Pokemon games. And so I bought it, and I still had my older games with my Pokemon on it. And then I wound up having to buy Black version 2. I had to buy either white version 2 or Black version 2, and I wound up buying Black version 2 and playing through that just so I could transfer my Pokemon into Pokemon X. But I'm kind of getting sick and tired of Pokemon. I really am. Now, when Pokemon first came out, I did not play it at first. The reason I started playing Pokemon was about the time that Sapphire and Ruby came out. My friends were playing that on their Game Boy Advances, and at that time, my Game Boy Advance was pretty new, so I was looking for a game. So I bought Pokemon Sapphire. I played that so long and so much that I wound up getting all the Pokemon for that game, and then I bought the next one and the next one. I think Pokemon Diamond was the last one I had actually bought before I started getting really sick and tired of the series, because it's like the same thing over and over and over again. And then I was going to stop, and then I wound up buying Pokemon X, because it was done in a different style. It was a little bit more animated and whatnot, and I thought it was pretty interesting to try. And then I wound up buying Black, because I wanted to transfer my old Pokemon into that game. So I'm going to skip Sun and Moon, because I got lots of other games to play, and I'm not really that interested. So, I don't know how... I've been recording for 45 minutes. I know a lot of this is going to be being cut out. But that's it. Thanks everyone for watching. See you on the next time. Bye.